Hey, what's up everybody, friends and enemies of Swordsoul? So I did my May 2023 post-ban list deck profile, and I went through and looked at it, played a couple of games with it, and just noticed the consistency wasn't great. I was testing it. It felt good. I was doing well with it for a little while. I did make some changes as far as hand traps are concerned. After that, I wanted to just go through and do a more consistent deck build. So I'm trying out a couple different things. First off, we are going to start off. We have 3 copies of Incredible Ecclesia, the Virtuous. It's a Swordsoul by proxy. I've seen a couple people run it at 2. It's definitely a 3. And then as far as the Swordsoul lineup, it's pretty much standard. 3 Moyi. We're going to run 3 copies of Longyuan, 2 copies of Taia, and then I am going to run the 1 copy of Swordsoul Auspice Chujin. We'll talk more about this card later when I get to some of the Tenyi stuff. And then moving on to the Swordsoul Spells and Traps, we are running 3 Swordsoul Emergence, 2 Sacred Summit, 1 Punishment, and then 1 Blackout. So that's going to be our Swordsoul lineup. As far as the Tenyis are concerned, I'm still on 3 Ashuna. I think I was running it at 2 in the previous video. I think 3 is good. And then we're going to be running 2 Vishuda and 2 Adhara. Mind you, this is not a dang long deck profile. I don't want to be running all the Yang Zings. I'm trying to keep it more basic, more Swordsoul, still with some power plays and some punches, but I don't want to get too complicated with it. And then we are running 1 Shthana. And then to finish out with the Tenyis, we do run 2 Heavenly Dragon Circle. Obviously this card works with both Swordsoul and Tenyis, but considering the card says Tenyi in the text, we're going to go ahead and call that a Tenyi card. And then we are running 3 copies of Ringowurm. Still on the level 2 tuner. It's just such a great addition to the deck that I just feel like we got to run it and see what can be maximized out with it. For consistency, we are going to be running 2 copies of Pot of Desires and 2 copies of Small World. We can run this potentially at 3, and that would reduce our copy, potentially could reduce our copies of Ringowurm. We could just run them both at 3, but for now, I'm just running it at 2 as a tester. I am running 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, 2 Ash Blossom, and then 1 Droll and Lockbird. You can also run 3 Ash, and then just the 1 of Droll. Droll is searchable with our Small World, and it's still a great hand trap. Back to the Auspice Chujin. This card is basically a Heavenly Dragon Circle, but instead of adding 1 from your deck to your hand or special summoning it, depending on the situation, this one will tribute off a monster and then special summon itself. So if they target your Moyi, you can tribute off your Moyi. For like, say if they hit it with an Imperm, go Moyi, hit with an Imperm, activate Chujin, tribute, special. You still get your token and then sync for a 10. And then I'll go over that combo later at the end of the video, just so I can show you how that all plays out and what you'd be looking for there. Anyway, so that is the main deck list. If you have any questions, suggestions, feel free to let me know. I am thinking about doing a couple of different deck builds. I do have multiple play sets of this deck, so I can go through and test out different theories without messing up my tournament deck. Moving on to the extra deck, we are going to be running 1 Stardust Charge Warrior. We run 1 Metaphys Horus, both level 6s. They have their different purposes. This one is going to give you an extra draw. This one's going to negate an opponent's monster. So going first, going second, in my opinion. Then I run 1 Dragite for spells and traps. We run 1 Crimson Blader to lock people out of level 5s and higher. It's great. Can definitely win you games. I feel like it's a must at this point. We're running 1 Draco Berserker of the Tenyi. This one banishes, so it triggers off a lot of your effects, and then also it can become quite big and attack over a lot of monsters. I am running 2 copies of Baxia, one of the best cards in the deck. Definitely need to run 2, especially with Kashtira. And then we are running 2 Chixiao. That is going to complete out our 8s. Moving on to our 10s, we run 1 Ice Jade Aegirine, 1 Baronne de Fleur, 1 Sinister Sovereign, 1 Chengying, and then for our links, we only run 2 copies of Monk the Tenyi. I wanted some more flexibility in the extra deck as far as synchros rather than the links. Can come back to bite me at some cases, but I think we're going to go ahead and just run with this. I like the options, and depending on your situation, I mean, the only way this is really going to hurt you if you're getting hit with a D barrier, and in those cases, you got to have the cross out, man. Draw the out for it, or just hope that you are going first. Mind you, this is a very good going second deck. It does also have some really big power plays going first and can make some pretty unbreakable boards. And then just my tokens, I run these for the Swordsoul tokens, and then this one for the Apple Dragon token. So that is going to be our extra deck. And then now moving on to our side deck, I run 3 copies of Spellbound because it can't be crossed out unless somebody is running a Spellbound, which I have not been seeing recently. 3 copies of Nibiru, 3 copies of Dark Ruler. I am seeing this card coming back, especially after the ban list. So I think I'm going to be playing around with that on the side for now. We are running 3 copies of Triple Tactic Talents, 2 Lightning Storm, and 1 Cosmic Cyclone for spell and trap removal. With the Lightning Storm being limited, Cosmic was just like the right answer there. Anyway, that's going to be our extra deck, or our side deck. And then one other thing is I haven't seen a lot in some deck lists, deck profiles that I've seen. I just want to talk about some other options as far as extra deck, some main deck monsters that you can run. First is going to be additional links. A lot of people do run the Shaman, but I haven't seen too many deck lists with people running the Berserker. He can be quite easy to go into with Shaman, just depending on your game state. And then also running 1 copy of the Borreload Savage Dragon. Using him with either your Monk Engrave, the Shaman, or the Berserker, it's going to give him counters and give you Omni Negates. They are only once per turn, so if you use a Monk, you're going to use up his only Omni Negate that first turn. With Shaman, you do get 2 Omni Negates, 1 on your turn, and then also 1 on your opponent's turn. And then with Berserker, you'll get 3. So as long as you can keep this guy on board, he is a great option with that Omni Negate. And then also with, he will gain half the attack of the monster you use. So if you use Monk from Grave, he will gain 500 attack. If you use Shaman, he'll gain 800 attack. So 35, 38, and then using Berserker is going to put him at a 45. So he is a big boy. You can get multiple negates on there, but you are going to have to structure your main deck and your side deck more based off trying to get this off. And then you're probably going to have to run more Tenyis. The other Tenyis that you can put in there, most people don't see these in deck lists, but you can run Adhara and Mupora. Mupora is starting to come and see more play, but Adhara is... I haven't really seen a whole lot, but if your non-effect monster is targeted for an attack while this is in your hand or grave, you can banish it, and that monster, or your opponent's monster, will lose 1500 attack. So that would essentially put Berserker at a 30 or 4500 attack. And then Mupora, if your opponent's monster, or if your opponent targets a non-effect monster you control, you can banish this card from your hand or graveyard, negate the activation if you destroy that card. So it's a negate and destroy. It can also be tricky because if you have it in your hand, they may not see it coming. And then it also protects your non-effect monsters on top of Shthana if you can get that in grave. And then I am, if you want to go for the dark lock or the light lock using Yazi or Baxia, you can run Baxia as Xiaofeng with our level 2 tuner and our level 1 tuner in the deck. We can go into dark or light lock, usually light lock for Nibiru, but with Defleur and Apple Dragon being in the main deck, he's easier to get into on summon 5. So not running the Xiaofeng for now. One other one is White Aura Whale. It'll blow up all attack position monsters your opponent controls. It can attack twice during the battle phase. And then if it attacks a defense position monster, it will inflict piercing damage. And then if this card you control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can banish one water monster from your graveyard and special it. And if you do, it's treated as a tuner. So we have a level 8 tuner after special summon back. And then we can use the Apple Dragon token as a non-tuner and then sink this off and go into a 10. So that's just another option for you. It is a powerful card as well, utilizing the water in the main deck that we run. We do also run one copy of Geomathmic Final Sigma. He can be used with a 4 and an 8 to get into pretty easy, or now with the new 2, we can use a 10 to go into Final Sigma. He is unaffected while in the extra monster zone, so you always want to put him in the extra monster zone. And then also if he attacks an opponent's monster and he inflicts piercing, or if he inflicts damage over your opponent's monster, it'll double. So just a great card, especially if you don't want something to be affected. And then my last synchro is going to be Psychic and Punisher. Unaffected when your life points are lower, can banish something on the field. Will also trigger Chengying if you have Chengying out, and then he gains attack every battle phase depending on the life difference. And then also just the fact that he is a 35, he's pretty easy to get into since we run level 4 tuners, and then some of our Tenyis are level 7. And then the last potential piece that you can run in there, and ideas, theories, cards that I've used to run, is going to be one copy of Magic-y Beast Anabolos. He is a level 4 tuner fusion monster, which can be just special summoned out using instant fusion from the extra deck. So just another option if you're getting hit with like something like Token Collector or things of that sort. This is a good option to just spam out, sink off. Don't need my tokens. Haha, so you thought. Anyway, so I do also want to go over a couple of combos, namely being I have a couple of 2.5 card combos. We'll call them 2 card combos because it's basically half for each, and then 1 is necessary. So Apple Dragon is going to be your necessary piece here. And then we are going to, it can be any Tenyi name or any reveal. So any Swordsoul name or any Tenyi monster that's a worm. Obviously all Tenyis are worms. So, and then a Moe, it can be an Emergence to search the Moe, but we're going to have these 3 cards here, and then we'll have 2 unknown cards in hand. So the first play here is we are going to start with a normal summon of Moe, and then we're going to activate Moe's effect and reveal. Now that's going to give us our level 4 tuner token. On summon of the token, we are going to activate Ringowurm to special summon himself. And then from here, we are going to sync the Moe and the Ringowurm off for a level 6. And we are going to go into the Charge Warrior, which, mind you, this is going first. We're estimating that we only have 5 cards. On summon of the Charge Warrior, we're going to get a chain 1 with the Charge Warrior, chain 2 with the Moe. We are going to draw 2. And again, we'll leave these guys face down just because they are unknown at this time. We're just playing it off the 3 cards that we have. I can do test hands as well. If you'd like to see just me playing through test hands with this deck build, feel free to leave a comment down below and let me know that you want to see that. And then now we're left on the board. We do have an Ashuna, but we're just going to call it nothing for now, just because it's just any reveal for Moe. And then we can now Charge Warrior is going to be our 4th summon, and then we are going to sync these 2 off and go into our Baronne de Fleur, which is going to be our 5th summon. Now we have a level 10, a negate for Nibiru, and then we also have 5 cards still in hand. So in this case, they were pulled off the top of my deck after the deck list breakdown. So 5 cards in hand still. We have a Moe Engrave, an Apple Dragon, which we can still banish to special summon our level 2 tuner or non-tuner, depending on how you want to go about it. And then we have a Moe that can be Sacred Summon, special back, or can be banished off Taia, depending on what we need. And then our Charge Warrior is kind of burnt, but definitely a good combo to get us into our 5 and then be able to continue on from there without worrying about Nibiru. And then moving on to our second combo, it's going to be very similar, but it's going to be involving Small World and why we're running it. It's, again, this is mainly going to be for a consistency piece. So if we don't open an Apple Dragon, we can open up a Small World. And then again, we can open up an Emergence, an Ecclesia, Moyi. It can be any of those 9 cards to replace this spot, but for fun's sakes, we're just going to go ahead and say it's the Emergence. And then any reveal. This time, let's go with an Adhara. And we're going to go from here. So first, starting off, we're going to activate the Emergence, which is going to add us a copy of Moyi to the hand. Then we are going to normal summon the Moyi and then reveal the Adhara, which is going to special summon our level 4 tuner token. And at this point, we are going to activate Small World. We're going to reveal the Adhara in hand. We are going to reveal an Ashuna from deck, and then we are going to add a Ringowurm to our hand. And then from here, we are going to banish these 2. This will go to grave. And mind you, we do still have 2 cards in our hand from our original draw, because this is playing off 2 cards. Here we can special summon the Ringowurm. We're going to sync these 2 off. Go into the Charge Warrior. We're going to draw 2. 1 for Moyi, 1 for Charge Warrior, and then we can sync here into our 10 of a Baronne de Fleur. And then here we're going to be in a very similar situation. However, we do have an Emergence in graveyard, so if we do get a Taia, we can keep our Moyi in case we do get a Sacred Summit. And then we can also level modulate with our Emergence. We have the Moyi for Sacred Summon or Banish. We have the Ringowurm to banish to special summon a level 2 tuner or non-tuner. And then we do still have 4 cards in hand, which can be hand traps, not hand traps, follow up for next turn, or we can continue out our play. Because right now, all we do have is a Baronne, but this allows us to continue play with 4 cards, and we have used our normal summon at this point. But if we were going second and the Emergence had to happen to be an Ecclesia, then we wouldn't have used our normal summon. We, on our 5th summon, would have had a Baronne de Fleur, and still 4 cards to combo off from there. So it is just a consistency piece. It does put us -1 card, then just opening up the Ringowurm, but I think the consistency is worth it. And then I do have one more play I want to go over, and this is just a 2 card. So again, it can be an Ecclesia, a Moyi, or an Emergence. These are my Moyi combos that I like to go with. I need to find the Chujin. We're going to add. So starting off with these 2 cards. Now, mind you, he is a reveal for Moyi. However, he is not the reveal you want. So if you have any other reveal, so say it's any other Swordsoul card or any other worm, what you're going to want to do is, instead of revealing the Chujin, you are going to want to reveal the other one. So if I normal summon the Moyi here, yes, I can reveal this, but if I have choice, I'd rather reveal this one so they don't know I have this. Say they target with Imperm to negate, I'm going to activate Chujin effect in hand to tribute off the Moyi and special summon the Chujin. So basically it's going to be chain 1 Moyi, chain 2 Imperm, chain 3 Chujin. Chujin will go, tribute off the Moyi, special summon himself. Imperm will miss because the target isn't on field, and then Moyi effect will resolve to special summon our level 4 tuner token. And here you can just go into a Baronne if you like. This is a summon 4 Baronne instead of a 7/5, or personally, if you are going second, in this case I'm listing as just going first, you can sync these 2 off and go into your Chengying. Mind you, going second, so your opponent has a board. On summon of Chengying, Chujin is going to go. His effect, when used for a synchro summon, will blow up a card on the field. It will banish it. So you banish 1 card your opponent controls, and then on resolution of the banish, you're going to target your Chengying's effect's going to go off and banish 1 more on field, and then also banish 1 in grave. As long as they have 1 in grave, you do need 1 in both places to do so. And you know, you don't get the plus off of this, so it does hurt a little bit, but being able to clear the board is nice, and then still having 3 cards to go through. And mind you, these could be any 3 cards. You can also just reveal the Chujin, and if we were going second, it would still be 4 cards in hand, so could end up being quite good. So that's going to be it for my Moyi combos. I can go over some other ones with Taia. Actually Emergence is a 1-card combo with Taia. It's pretty standard if you're just getting into the deck. People have known about this one for a little while, but we're just going to go ahead and start with the Emergence, and we can also go off with the Ringowurm as well. So first we're going to start off by activating the Emergence. We're going to add 1 Taia to our hand. This will go to graveyard. Then we can normal summon the Taia to banish the Emergence and special summon the token. And then Ringowurm can special summon. And then from here we can sink into an 8, we can sink into our 6, we can get a send and a plus. And then mind you, again, that is only off of 2 cards. So really it's a 1 card to get into your Taia and then sink into an 8 and get going. But if you have the Ringowurm as well, or the Small World, that can further the combos just as an extender. And then also just the flexibility with Ringowurm has just been so nice. And then you can actually get into both 6s, which is something I've been theorying. There is a rank 6 monster that banishes. I would pull out the card here. I may comment it down below or put it in the description. But you can sync those 2 off. Go into your Charge Warrior, draw 1, send 1, and then activate Apple Dragon here to special summon out your level 2 tuner or non-tuner. Considering we have a level 4 tuner, you can sync these 2 off into a 6, which is going to give us the Metaphys Horus. So now we have 2 6s. You can negate a monster on your opponent's side of the field, and then from here, XYZ these 2 into your rank 6. But I will put the name of that card down in the description down below. But that's going to do it for me for combos today. There are plenty more, and if you'd like me to do a full combo video going over more in depth on how I play, and then if you'd like to see specific situations that I found myself in, feel free to comment down below. If you guys have any suggestions, again, comment down below. And I am trying to grow the page, so any likes, comments, follows, subscribes would be great. And other than that, thank you guys. Have a great rest of the day.